Hockney's vision. Stepping into the Fondation Louis Vuitton is an experience in itself. Frank Gehry's architectural masterpiece, a cascade of glass sails seemingly floating above the Bois de Boulogne in Paris, is designed to capture and fracture light, to play with space and perception. It's a building that doesn't just contain art, it prepares you for it. And there is perhaps no artist more fitting for this space than David Hockney, a man who has spent over 6 decades doing with paint, cameras, and pixels what Gehry does with glass and steel, deconstructing and reassembling our reality to show us the world anew. The monumental exhibition housed within these walls is not merely a retrospective. It's a grand, immersive testament to a life dedicated to the act of looking. The sheer scale is the first thing that hits you. This isn't a quiet stroll through a few of an artist's greatest hits. It's a comprehensive, almost overwhelming journey that spans from the smoky, post-war grays of his student days in Bradford to the super-saturated, luminous glow of digital drawings conceived on an iPad. The curation is masterful in its narrative ambition. It immediately establishes the central thesis of Hockney's entire career, a relentless, joyful, and deeply intellectual inquiry into the nature of depiction. How do we translate our three-dimensional, multi-sensory experience of the world onto a two-dimensional flat surface? This question has obsessed artists for centuries, but Hockney has attacked it with a unique combination of classical reverence and punk rock rebellion. The exhibition doesn't present his career as a linear progression of periods in the traditional art historical sense. Instead, it's thematic, weaving a thread through his work that highlights his continuous, almost obsessive, return to the same fundamental problems of perception, regardless of the medium. We see his early experiments, born from the austerity of 1950s Britain. You can feel the raw talent, the restless energy of a young artist straining against the confines of his environment. The work from his time at the Royal College of Art is charged with a coded language, exploring themes of love and identity with a graphic, almost literary intensity. Then comes the explosion of California. The exhibition makes this transition visceral. You move from rooms of muted, introspective early works into a sudden, dazzling blast of sun-drenched color. It's here that Hockney found his visual paradise and cemented his place in the pop art movement, though he was always a slightly awkward fit. While Warhol was dissecting the cool, detached irony of mass media, Hockney was diving headfirst into a world of sensual, hedonic pleasure. He wasn't just observing the California dream, he was living it, and he wanted to capture its very essence. We are confronted with the iconic swimming pools, works that have become so ingrained in our cultural consciousness that it's easy to forget how revolutionary they were. The exhibition forces you to look closer. The shimmering, almost abstract patterns of light on the surface of the water, the way he captures the fleeting, explosive moment of a splash in A Bigger Splash, it's all part of his investigation. He's not just painting a pool, he's painting time, light, and the very feeling of a hot Los Angeles afternoon. The acrylic paint he adopted was crucial. Its flat, synthetic, vibrant quality was the perfect medium for this new, man-made utopia of clean lines, green lawns, and impossibly blue water. But the curation is clever. It doesn't let you get too comfortable in the California sun. Interspersed with these celebrated works are his portraits, which reveal a different, more intimate side of the artist. The famous double portraits, like Mr. and Mrs. Clark and Percy, are masterpieces of psychological tension and subtle narrative. The vast, empty space between the two figures speaks volumes about their relationship, a silent drama played out in a beautifully rendered, light-filled room. Hockney's genius for portraiture lies in this ability to capture not just a likeness, but the complex web of relationships and unspoken emotions that define our lives. He paints his friends, his family, his lovers, and in doing so, he chronicles his own life's journey. The exhibition lays this all out, showing how his personal world and his artistic inquiries were always inextricably linked. This comprehensive approach reveals that Hockney was never just a pop artist, or a landscape painter, or a portraitist. He was and is a visual philosopher, using every tool at his disposal to document and understand the world around him. This first part of the journey at the Fondation Louis Vuitton is about establishing this core identity. David Hockney, the relentless innovator, the master of observation, who from his earliest days was already laying the groundwork for a lifelong battle against the single static viewpoint. His grand vision was always about seeing more, seeing deeper, and seeing differently. And to do that, he would have to dismantle the very foundations of Western art, color and perspective. Block 2. Colors and Perspectives. If the first part of the exhibition establishes the sheer breadth of Hockney's ambition, the next plunges us deep into the machinery of his genius. It unpacks the two fundamental pillars upon which his entire visual world is built: his revolutionary use of color and his radical deconstruction of perspective. These are the elements that make a Hockney instantly recognizable. It's a vision so potent that once you've been immersed in it, you start to see the real world differently, noticing the unnatural purple in a shadow or the way a road seems to unfold in multiple viewpoints at once. The exhibition brilliantly showcases how these two obsessions are not separate pursuits, but are deeply intertwined, each informing and amplifying the other. Hockney's color is, of course, the most immediate draw. It's audacious, unapologetic, and emotionally charged. He once said, "I prefer to live in color," and this section of the exhibition is a testament to that philosophy. We are surrounded by canvases that sing with an almost radioactive vibrancy. The blues of his swimming pools are not the blues of nature. They are the blues of memory, of desire, of the cool chemical cleanliness of chlorinated water under a manufactured sun. The greens of the Yorkshire countryside in his later works are so intensely lush they feel more real than reality itself. The exhibition allows you to trace the evolution of his palette, from the more restrained tones of his early work to the full-throated roar of his California period and beyond. He learned from masters like Matisse and Van Gogh, understanding that color could be liberated from its purely descriptive role. For Hockney, color is feeling. The jarring, almost acidic reds and yellows he uses for a simple still life can convey a sense of unease or intense excitement, transforming the mundane into the extraordinary. He understood the power of acrylics to deliver this pure, unmodulated color, and he wielded it with surgical precision to construct his idealized yet psychologically complex worlds. But this mastery of color is paired with an even more radical assault on artistic convention, his lifelong war against the tyranny of the single-point perspective, the kind delivered by the camera's lens. Hockney argues, compellingly, that the camera is a liar. It sees the world from one static, frozen viewpoint, which is simply not how humans experience reality. We see with what he calls binocular vision, but it's more than that. We see with our bodies, our memories, our minds. Our eyes are in constant motion, scanning, focusing, and refocusing. Our brain stitches these thousands of micro-glimpses into a coherent, fluid whole. This is the experience Hockney has spent his life trying to replicate on a flat surface. The exhibition dedicates significant space to his groundbreaking photographic collages, which he called joiners. These are perhaps the clearest and most accessible demonstration of his theory. We see works like the iconic Pear Blossom Highway. It's not a single photograph of a desert road. It's a sprawling mosaic of hundreds of individual snapshots, each taken from a slightly different angle, a slightly different moment in time. As a viewer, your eye is forced to travel across the piece, to actively participate in its construction. You look down at the discarded beer cans on the roadside, then up at the stop sign, then across to the distant mountains. You are experiencing the scene as if you were there, turning your head, your attention shifting. The fractured, cubist-like effect of the composition is a direct nod to his artistic heroes, but he recontextualizes their ideas for the photographic age. He's proving that photography doesn't have to be a passive window onto the world. It can be an active tool for exploration, capable of capturing time, space, and the subjective nature of seeing. This idea of assembling a view from multiple parts doesn't end with photography. The exhibition masterfully connects the joiners to his monumental, multi-canvas landscapes painted decades later. When Hockney returned to his native Yorkshire, he brought his California-honed sense of color and his Cubist-inspired understanding of perspective with him. He began painting enormous landscapes, some consisting of up to 50 individual canvases joined together. Standing in front of one of these works, like bigger trees near water, is a truly immersive experience that a reproduction can never capture. The physical seams between the canvases serve the same purpose as the edges of the Polaroids in his joiners. They are a constant reminder that this is not a window, but a construction, a memory, an experience. You feel the vastness of the space, the curve of the earth, the sheer overwhelming presence of nature. He painted these scenes from memory, aided by sketches, forcing him to capture the essence of the place, not just its photographic likeness. By abandoning the single lens of the camera and embracing the multiplicity of human vision, Hockney invites us not just to look at a scene, but to step inside it, to experience its colors, its space, and its passage through time. This relentless quest to find new ways of representing what we see is the engine of his art, an engine that would eventually lead him to embrace a tool that seemed at first to be the very antithesis of his painterly craft, the digital screen. Block 3. Digital and Legacy. Just when you think you have a handle on David Hockney, the pop art icon, the master of color, the theorist of perspective, the exhibition at the Fondation Louis Vuitton ushers you into its final and perhaps most surprising act. The transition is profound. We move from vast canvases thick with oil and acrylic paint, from collages made of physical photographic prints, into a world of pure, luminous light. A world created not with a brush, but with a thumb and a stylus on the screen of an iPhone and later an iPad. For any other artist of his generation, this late career pivot to digital technology might have seemed like a gimmick, a novelty. But for Hockney, it was the most natural, logical step in his lifelong quest. The exhibition presents this move not as a rupture, but as a seamless continuation of the very same questions he had been asking for over half a century. The tool had changed, but the vision remained unwavering. His fascination began simply with the Brushes app on his iPhone. He started creating small, intimate drawings, bouquets of flowers, sunrises from his bedroom window, and emailing them to friends each morning. They were digital postcards, immediate and ephemeral. But Hockney quickly realized the immense potential of this new medium. The iPad, with its larger surface, became his new sketchbook, his new canvas. What excited him was not just the convenience, but the unique properties of the screen itself. He called it a luminous canvas, a surface that generated its own light, much like a stained glass window. The intense, glowing colors of an iPad drawing had a vibrancy and clarity that were different from paint on canvas. Furthermore, the technology allowed him to record his process. Every single mark, every decision could be played back, turning the static image into a moving demonstration of its own creation. He was, in effect, drawing with time itself. The exhibition showcases these digital works on a breathtaking scale. What began as small sketches on a handheld device are printed out as massive, multi-panel installations that rival his largest paintings in their ambition and impact. We see his monumental depictions of Yosemite National Park, created entirely on the iPad. The towering trees and dramatic rock faces are rendered with a stunning combination of intricate detail and bold, expressive digital brushstrokes. The colors are pure Hockney, electric blues, vibrant greens, and glowing oranges, but they possess a unique digital luminescence. By placing these works in dialogue with his earlier paintings, the curation makes a powerful point: the medium is secondary to the artist's eye. Whether he is using a centuries-old technique like oil painting or a 21st century app, Hockney is still tackling the same fundamental challenges: how to capture the grandeur of a landscape, the play of light, and the feeling of being present in a specific place at a specific time. He proved that digital art could be more than just cold, computer-generated imagery. In the hands of a master, it could be as warm, personal, and expressive as any traditional medium. This fearless embrace of the new cements Hockney's enduring legacy, which the exhibition celebrates in its totality. He is one of the most significant artists of our time, not just for the beautiful and iconic images he has created, but for his relentless curiosity and his profound influence on how we think about art itself. He has consistently challenged the established hierarchies, blurring the lines between painting, photography, and digital media. He has resisted easy categorization, moving fluidly between styles and techniques, always driven by his insatiable need to explore the act of seeing. In an age of passive consumption, where we are bombarded with millions of images a day, Hockney's work is a powerful reminder that looking is an active, joyful, and deeply human process. His art doesn't just show us things, it teaches us how to see. To walk out of the Fondation Louis Vuitton back under Gehry's glass sails is to re-enter a world made richer and more vibrant by the journey. The light seems different, the colors more intense, the perspectives more complex. The ultimate message of this monumental retrospective is that David Hockney's greatest masterpiece is not any single painting or drawing, but the generous and transformative vision he has shared with us for over 60 years. He has given us his eyes, and through them, we see the world as a place of infinite wonder.